Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 6 of ZAD's Galaxy Tour brought to you by Zealous Racing League. My name is Shim, I'm your host for tonight's race, and we've got two races ahead of us tonight. We've got two 30-minute races, a doubleheader tonight, here at the beautiful Circuit of the Americas in near Austin, Texas. Now, our drivers are just doing a little bit of warming up right now, but before we begin with qualifying here in about 5 minutes, I want to give a rundown of where we are sitting right now in the championship standings. It's some battles to be watching out for on track. 4 points as we wind down this season of Zealous's ZAD's Galaxy Tour. We've been going on for 6 rounds already, and we only have one left after this race. It's a 7-round season, so this is going to be a very important race for a few of the drivers as we lead into the final race and the championship decider at Misano next week, which is a makeup week from the middle of the season. So as I, with a very high production value, get my Chrome tab or my Firefox tab over here. As we look at our standings currently on the sim grid, we have our leader, KP, Kenneth Portis. He is currently standing in 336 points. Definitely has the most wins and has gotten podium every single race he's raced in, but his championship contender is Shenkai Zhang, who, if you've been watching the stream here, he's been setting some absolutely rapid laps tonight, so it's very possible that he could be gaining even more points on Portis this week. It's been neck and neck with these guys all season, so be interested to see how that turns out. Tada is currently sitting in 3rd place fairly comfortably. The real battle is once we get down here into these mid-top 10 positions, especially Jeremy Story, Justin Friesen, Matt Fender, and Matthew Reed, all within about 20 points of each other. Justin and Matt are actually dead on when it comes to points this season. So today is going to be a very important race. It'll decide who's going to have more points going into the final session. And if we just drag and drop over here real quick, you'll see that currently Friesen's been able to set a little bit faster time in practice, but we'll have to see what qualifying brings. They've got 10 minutes of qualifying for each of these races. So, things could be changing around a lot. If Fender gets a better second race, Friesen gets a better first race, things could still end up even by the end of the night. But I think there's a lot more probably room for one person to be pulling ahead this tonight. Another little battle we have going on here is between Chris Rise, Todd Cromier, another Canadian driver that I cannot pronounce his last name. Been corrected 3 times now on people's last names. I don't mean it as a bad thing, but I think it's pretty funny that I've been able to butcher every single Canadian name up to this point. So that's very fun. Candido is sitting there in P10, our final points, our final top 10 position here. All looking very close here when it comes to points. Even drivers like Calvin Wolf, one of our admins, and Ricky Scott to an extent, I think these guys could easily pull into the top 10. And even if you put you in there, I think they could all pull into the top 10 during the races, during tonight's races. So it's entirely possible that we could see some shakeups with this next week. And I think that's going to be really important to be able to watch this and watch today's race and see how everything pans out for these drivers. But that being said, let's get back to Circuit of the Americas, our final track in the American Track Pack that we are currently highlighting in season 8 of the ZAD's Galaxy Tour. Our goal this season was to be sure to highlight every single U.S. track, and I believe we've done a pretty good job of that. Having races at Watkins Glen, Circuit of the Americas, and the Indy Road Course. Today we have 2 races, like I mentioned. We've got a two 30-minute races, no pit stops required or required for either of those races. So I don't expect anyone to pit these races. These are going to be two full-on sprints. I don't believe there's any reason for our drivers to have to fill up with fuel or anything, or pit stop or anything. This is just going to be pure on-track racing for our drivers tonight. So from a strategy standpoint, things are a little bit boring, to be honest, tonight. But from a championship standpoint, there's a lot on the line when it comes to our drivers today. You know, we could easily see some change-ups in how things turn out. Another driver that we need to watch and need to note is Nunez, who has not been able to be at some of our early rounds, and because of that, is a little bit further down when it comes to our standings. That being said, we know he's a fast racer. He's raced with Zealous before. We know he's quick. We know he's got the pace in him to perform well. So we'll see if he can break into the top 10 in these races as well. And as our drivers finish up their final practice laps here, I just want to remind you that if you're interested in following Zealous, be sure to check out our socials that are on the homepage of our YouTube channel. Our Twitter and Facebook are linked there. And if you're interested in joining the community, be sure to join our Discord. There's also a link for our Discord community in the homepage of our YouTube channel. That's where you can find the most up-to-date information regarding the leagues and everything that we run. So if it's something that you're interested in, if you want to get into sim racing, be sure to give us a follow, reach out to us, join our Discord. We're always here to help. We've got a full team of admins that's ready to assist in any means necessary. Zealous is where I really started out my sim racing league journey about over a year ago now. And they've been incredibly welcoming. A lot of these guys have become really good friends and always willing to help out new drivers and experienced drivers alike. So, plus we clown on all the F1 drivers in our F1 chat. So come on by. Who can't like that? As Tada comes around here, and it looks like he's just going to end it right there, but our drivers are going out for their first qualifying session, and it looks like Kenneth Portis is our first driver out. Watching him here now, as usual for our drivers who are qualifying. I take the first driver out from qualifying, which has been KP usually, and we take a lap on the circuit, on the track, give everyone a feel for how the track goes, how it flows, and allow everyone to get a bit of a feel of what the drivers are dealing with today. Now, Circuit of the Americas is a pretty tricky track, especially for a car like the NSX that KP is using. Definitely a very technical, downforce-heavy track. A lot of odd corners and a lot of back and forth between the corners. That whole first sector is almost entirely S's. The first end of the first sector and beginning of that second sector is just S's. And then once you get into that final sector there, after the very long straight, gets pretty challenging as well, with some strange turns that you have to really get a feel for by constant repetitions. This isn't a track that a lot of people can go to and just get right away. There's a lot of odd corners, a lot of weird intricacies about this track that make it difficult to just pick up and be fast at. It really does require a lot of practice, a lot of experimentation to really find out where you can push your car to the limits. This turn in particular, you take that sort of hairpin right there, and you really have to try to get as far as you can to almost take it. Even though it's kind of like two perfectly angled turns, you really have to flow through it in a certain way to get the most out of it. And then this last sector, the really fast right-hander, as we watch KP, our championship leader. Let's go into the cockpit and watch KP go through his first lap. Here on the start-finish straight of COTA, we go up the hill, up the very large hill, as far right as you can go, braking as late as possible, and trying to turn as you brake, getting into the hairpin as you go down the hill, get as far left as possible to hit that apex and go flat out through the right-hander. Now it's all about the S's, trying to keep as much speed as possible. I don't see much braking, or it doesn't seem like there's much braking. You really want to try to keep as much speed as possible going through the S's. A long right-hander there. Try to keep the momentum going. Hug the inside of this turn as tight as you can and cut the next one going as wide as possible to get the best run into the first part of the straight. Braking and turning into the corner here. Another hairpin, a lot of hairpins here at COTA as we go down the largest straight of the circuit, the back straight. A lot of downtime for the drivers here. Have to stay on top of it though because there's a hard braking zone coming up here. Staying as far right as possible. Braking into the hairpin. On the gas as early as possible. Braking, going into a low gear just so you can rotate yourself over and get on the gas as early as possible, cutting these corners and taking a weird line, braking deep into the next turn so you can get a good run into the fast right-hander. Absolutely brutal on those front left tires here. Coasting in, trying to keep your car balanced, braking. And then another heavy braking zone into a sort of hairpin. As we come down the start-finish straight again with a 2:06 for our championship leader, Portis. Let's take a look at some of the cars behind him. The 94 is the next car to come across. That's Shankai Zhang, who does set a faster lap, 0.2 faster. Well, actually, only a 10th faster. Ricky Scott also sets a lap. That's 3 seconds back. Reed, almost a full second back. This Chromier comes across the start-finish straight, gets about 2 seconds back. Santello looks to be taking a pretty slow lap, letting some drivers by. Let's go to Pinio. See how he's doing as he takes the last corner here. And Pinio goes about 4 seconds back, but that is his first lap. You just a little bit faster. Not too much, though. One of the drivers that we're going to be watching a lot tonight, my friend Slim Friesen, Justin Friesen. In the Ferrari, he's going to be a strong car for today's race. See how well he can do here. 3 seconds back on pace. I know he can do better than that. Probably just warming up those tires still. One of his rivals in the championship here, Matt Fender. We'll watch him as he continues through his race. A great shot going down the first part of that back straight there. Coming into a heavy braking zone. Taking the hairpin. Comes down the back straight. I gotta say, for me, this track, the first time I drove it was in Project Cars 2. Gave me an incredibly hard time with how technical it is. You really need a lot of downforce to be powerful on this track. I didn't understand that at the time, but I actually learned a lot about lines to take through this track from watching the NASCAR truck race here. I watched the NASCAR truck race here this last year, and I saw, hey, they're racing at Circuit of the Americas, so I figured I'd tune in and watch. And I gotta say, I did learn a little bit on some of the lines that you can take. You can cut a lot of these corners way more than it may seem. So really taking advantage, especially through the S's, of how much you can cut those corners, how much speed you can keep going through those. Because you can definitely keep a lot more than you might think. As Fender comes across here for his first flying lap. Oh, a little bit squirrely there. Oh no, Fender only able to set only able to set a 2:10. He's going to wish for better. He's got about 2 laps left that he can take. So hopefully he can get a good fast lap out there. Looking at some of our other drivers, Chris Rise setting a 2:08 in that really great livery, the Colorado livery for the Audi, the new Audi. Rise isn't able to improve on his time, goes much slower that time than last. Taking a look at Friesen here, wasn't able to set a faster lap last lap. Looks like he invalidated his lap, actually. So he's got about one more chance left as well. So hopefully he's able to... Oh, he gets a little bit squirrely, and the S's cut that corner, too. Think that's going to DQ him, I would think. It's really too bad. He's going to have to make that up on the track. Matthew Reed with a 2:07, very respectable. Next driver to him is J.J. Burr. Seems to be our only driver out there with the BMW tonight. I don't know how great the BMW is going to be. I think a little bit more oversteery car, mid-engine car is going to do a little bit better for today's race. But that BMW is fairly stable, so I could see him doing well in that. Cromer. Oh my goodness, looking at his fastest lap right there. A second back. Zhang setting the fastest lap, though, with a 2:05, dipping into the 2:05s. That's absolutely incredible from Zhang. Watching Burr here crossing the line, only 2/10 slower than the last one. Wow, that was an absolutely rapid lap from Shenkai Zhang. And that means Portis is still on the track, hoping to improve on his laps. He's been setting faster laps, and really interesting from Cromer here, or Cromier, sorry. Cromier, or Cromier. That's definitely the best he's performed this season. A driver like Nunez has yet to set a lap, so I can imagine he's probably going to be pretty fast up there. But definitely Cormier is setting some of the fastest laps I've seen him do in relative to the other drivers tonight. So he's if he can keep that up in terms of pace, he's going to have a great performance, I think, here tonight. Watching these guys race really makes me wish that I could join them on track, but then we wouldn't be able to provide any commentary to it. So I'm very glad to be able to let these guys, the professionals, do the racing, while I get to sit back and watch and enjoy the show. As we wind down qualifying here, as KP hopes to set a faster lap than last time. And does he? He does, but it is not good enough for pole. He is 1/10 off in a car that I gotta say isn't great for this track. But boy, oh boy, what an excellent effort from him today. Looking at other drivers here as well. Looking at our other drivers, Nunez was able to get into P10. Other drivers coming through. I think Tada is trying to set a faster lap here. See what he can do. Tada does go just a little bit, 0.5 faster. Friesen gets P15. Fender, much better performance from him today. Almost 0.6 up on Friesen. Actually, exactly 0.6 up on Friesen. Let's watch some of our other drivers. Our last driver to cross the finish line is going to be Turnbull. He doesn't seem to improve on his last lap. I think a lot of our drivers are hoping for rain today. Zealous does have a rain mercy rule, but we haven't had any rain yet to this season, which I gotta say is a little disappointing. I'm not gonna lie. I've been really hoping that there would be rain this season, but we did end up lowering our probabilities for random rain encounters this last season to account for last season, which we had two rain races in a row. So to try and limit that from happening, we ended up just lowering our percentage, but now we haven't had a rain race at all, which I gotta say, like I said, is really disappointing. But the drivers now have a minute to get their final setup changes ready as they line up for the start. 30-minute race here at Circuit of the Americas tonight. And then we have 10 minutes of qualifying again. Qualifying is reset. 10 minutes of qualifying again, and we go into another 30-minute race. No mandatory pit stops for our drivers today. And if you're joining us in chat, be sure to give us a shout out in chat and let us know who you're rooting for tonight. Be sure to share this stream with all your friends and family who might like racing as well. Be great to see a bunch of people joining in, having a good time, enjoying racing. 30 seconds left. Drivers got to hit drive so they don't start in the pit lane. Lights are going to have to be turned on for our cars, our drivers today, because we are a little bit later in the night. Going to need those lights to come on as our drivers make sure to turn them on. Hit and drive, seeing all the drivers pop up a little bit as we go into the start. Zhang, our pole sitter, having the inside line going up the hill here. The 31 car of Wolf wasn't able to hit drive in time, and we also have a car on the grid stuck, it looks like, but he is going now. We'll follow the start of the race from our leaders here. As we come to our start-finish straight here. 30 minutes at Circuit of the Americas as they turn that corner. Going up to the start of the race. It's about to turn green. And we are green. The 30 minutes begins now. Zhang and Portis getting a good start, but Tada looking on the inside of Zhang. Getting a good start himself. Going wide, Portis wide. Cromer ride, Tada ride, Reed, nice inside line there as they come down the hill. Reed hugging that outside. Tada getting a better line through the S's here. Portis gotta cut that corner a little bit. Tada not giving him the room he needs. Zhang really pulling away now. There's fighting in the back. As we watch, taking that close right-hander, coming down the back straight. Looks like Tada wasn't able to get in front of Portis there, and Reed staying in fourth place. Cromier, losing a few positions there. One to Reed. Friesen dropping back a few positions. Fender gaining on the start. Now P12. Looks like he gained another there on Flores, possibly. Zhang really pulling away now from the drivers in front. Cromier feeling the pressure from Turnbull there. Turnbull looking on the inside of Todd. And he gets it. He makes the move. You also in the mix there. Nunez loses a position on the start, having started P8. Friesen still well back there. Fender hasn't been able to make the move actually. Gets a little wide there, Todd. JJ Burr getting close to you there. Nunez behind, hoping to make some moves. Not going to have many opportunities to pass there. Going to have to pass into the heavy braking zones. Nunez looking on the inside, going into the start-finish straight here on the last corner. Nunez does hug the middle, but Candido is looking for a little bit of action there as well in that Bentley. Friesen able to overtake Scapinello there for P16. Burr and Nunez. Nunez on the inside, able to make the move. Burr and you contact Nunez and Candido as well. A little bit of bumping there between these drivers. Burr able to get away. Nunez able to get away, and Burr as well. Looks like they did overtake. Candido seems to have lost some positions there to a few of the drivers. Rise overtakes. Oh, and Candido hits Burr going into the S's. Overcooks it a little bit there and causes Burr to hopefully not make too big of a mistake. Nope, Burr's still okay here, but I bet he's got some damage on the front of that BMW. Shenkai Zhang losing a little bit of that gap to Portis behind. Tada and Reed battling it out here as well. Reed and Turnbull having Cromier been overtaken. Turnbull absolutely rapid down the straight, gets the slipstream going on the inside. I think he's going to make it stick too. Cutting it really close there. That's going to be one of the main action points of the race. Turnbull making an excellent move there on Reed, already taking 2 positions now. Looking back, we got Chris Rise and Flores here battling it out. Audi versus McLaren. A train of drivers behind, not going to be able to make many moves back where they are currently. Candido, having made that mistake too, promotes everyone else up 1 place. That means Friesen is now P15. He's got to catch up 2 places to be fighting with Fender. And he's getting awfully close, Friesen, to Santello there. Much faster than Santello, looking on the inside, going down the start-finish straight, and I think he's going to make that move stick. Very comfortably make that move stick. P14 for Friesen. Nunez feeling a bit of pressure from Burr, but not going into this turn. Got plenty of room to make that work. Still have a battle here in the back. A lot of fighting between these the final two top 10 positions here. You and Rise staying pretty close to each other, and Flores, Fender, Scott, and Friesen aren't too far behind. Imagine Friesen probably is going to try to make a move on Scott here as soon as he can. As they go into the S's, coming out now of the S's. Maybe Friesen can make the move coming down the fast straight here. He's got to catch back up to Fender. He sees Fender, excuse me, right in front there. As they come down the main straight, didn't seem like Friesen got such a good run. Not going to be able to make the move there. Trying to keep close, though. Turnbull and Reed and Cromier still fighting there for the last podium positions. Tada a little bit far ahead. Todd's looking much better in that Porsche than Reed in the Lamborghini in front of him. Looking a lot more nimble, especially in those slower corners. See how fast that Porsche can get back and fight. Coming around the final corner here. Looking back a little bit further, a little contact between Rise and you there. Rise trying to make the move on the outside. Does seem to be able to make it stick. Flores also hoping to get the move there done on you as well. As we watch him come up the hill, Yu's got the inside line. Going to be a bit dangerous. Yu is able to hold off Flores. McLaren battle there. And Rise now trying to pull away as best he can. Catch back up to Burr. Going back to Turnbull and Reed. Reed doesn't seem to be able to answer yet. This KP is also trying to get close to Zhang here. I've kind of been forgetting about our leaders here. Zhang and Portis able to really get quite a nice lead here. Almost 5 seconds up from Tada in third. As they come down the main straight, this is where Portis is really going to shine here against Zhang. See if he can get some of that time back. So go into the braking zone here. Portis looking on the inside a little bit, but not dangerous enough. Sparks flying out of Zhang's car there. Portis just trying to stay close to Zhang in these technical sectors. Awfully close there. Portis taking a little bit of a wider line. Zhang able to get that Ferrari rotated a little bit better than the NSX of Portis. You know, I call it a Honda too, but to be honest, Portis is using the Acura livery for that NSX. So I guess it would be more appropriate, especially since we're racing in the U.S., to be able to be calling that an Acura NSX instead of the Honda. Going back a little bit further, battle between Yu and Flores still raging. Oh, Yu makes a bit of a mistake there. Taking the inside line gives Flores a much better line and the inside. Oh, but Flores doesn't seem to get a good run as they go down the start-finish straight here. Awfully close battles between these two drivers, two championship contenders, or championship rivals, I should say. Fender and Friesen battling it out there. It's a cold night at something to note too, something I completely missed. Portis made the move on Zhang and made it stick. Didn't think Portis was able to make that move, but seems to have made it stick. I want to say probably on the start-finish straight there, probably going up the hill. Zhang looks on the inside. Neck and neck are these drivers going down the back straight. KP is going to have the better run of it because he had a little bit wider line going into that turn. But it's going to be awfully close between these two leaders. We're going to have to stick on these guys as Zhang looks up the inside. Not enough room to make that work, though. "20 minutes left in tonight's first race as we see this battle between Zhang and Portis. Zhang having gotten our pole, but Portis able to make it up on track. Portis is really able to make the moves when it counts, I will say. Able to stick with drivers really well. Even if he doesn't get pole, he's really tenacious when it comes to battling and very, very intelligent when it comes to battling as well. Able to pick just the right moments to make it stick and to catch their rival off guard. We saw it in Watkins Glen. Are we going to see it at another American track? I wonder. I think we will. Looking at all the other drivers here, doesn't look like there's any major shakeups in our leads so far. Fender, Scott, and Friesen are still kind of running all close to each other, but we'll have to watch that as we watch the battle between our leaders. You know, Portis was chatting after the race, I should say, last week, and he wasn't too optimistic for this track because the NSX and really a lot of cars were very poorly balanced from a BOP standpoint at this track. But if I remember correctly, there was an update to BOP earlier this week, and I wonder if that's helped Portis out. I bet it has. The 32 car of Cromier is spun out as we go back to him. spun out as we enter the main straight, or the back straight, I should say. And he just waits. Very smart move. It's tough to lose that many positions, but does keep it safe, which is always good to see. That moves drivers up. Looking at all the other drivers as well, I'm wondering if anyone else got caught up in that. Doesn't appear so. Candido having made his way back into 13th after that kerfuffle into the S's. Zhang is still a second back from Portis now, as Friesen opting to take a wide line around Flores. Great move from Flores. I think actually Flores got caught up in that little tussle, I want to say, with Cromier, maybe Scott as well, because that was who was between Friesen and Fender before. Friesen just makes the move now into 11th place. Now he's battling with his championship contender, his championship rival. This is on-track battles right now. 4 points. These guys are dead even when it comes to points in the championship. And now they're racing on track for those points. Couldn't have asked for a better race now myself. As they come into the S's, Fender definitely looking a little bit better in the S's than Friesen in that Ferrari. As they make that sweeping left-hander. Watching these drivers go on the first part of the back straight. Hoping to maybe make a move this lap. Who knows? Oh, Fender having a bit of an issue there. Fender goes on to the curbing there. And that's giving Friesen just the run he needs. Trying to break the toe there. Friesen on the inside. Definitely has got it. A lot of speed from that Audi, though. And makes that move. Now he's got to make it stick and stay in front for the rest of this race. As it stands right now, Friesen will pull ahead of Fender in the standings if this holds. And they're awfully close to you as well, so maybe Friesen can make a move on you here and put some distance between him and Fender. Let's check back in with our leaders here, Zhang and Portis. They are 10 seconds up. 12 seconds according to the game. 12 seconds up from third place. But going back, Tada and Turnbull are battling right now. 2 Audis, tussling for that final podium position. Reed and Nunez aren't too far behind either. As they come into the S's, drivers awfully close in this pack here. As we watch a little battle between you, Friesen, and Fender. Not a lot of places to overtake on this track, but not entirely impossible. Track is fairly wide, but in terms of optimal lines through the track, there are very few, especially with all the S's and then that technical final sector. You really have to take one line through that other than the final turn, the first turn. Friesen looking on the inside on you here, braking hard. You able to get ahead, goes very wide. Drive through from Candido there. Ooh, not sure that was a good move from Friesen, because that just gives Fender the opportunity to stick with even better. This little train here looking on the inside. Fender looking even further on the inside. And Friesen going all the way to the outside now. A lot of movement between our drivers as you and Fender have a little bit of a contact moment there. But Fender still able to make it out alive. That was smart moving from Friesen there, because I think he knew that the 2 drivers on the inside would get into some sort of kerfuffle like that. So smart moving, but just didn't work out well. Maybe he was hoping that you would take Fender for a little bit more of a spin. Awfully tricky racing between those guys now. As now Fender and Friesen look to pull away from you there. Friesen looking on the inside of Fender, but doesn't make it work. Fender just closing it off. Coming down the main straight. Friesen doesn't have the line he had hoped to, or the speed he had hoped to, just because he got cut off on that last part there. Not as great of a turn there from Fender. Friesen staying very close. Fastest lap for KP, and he's pulling away from Zhang. Into the S as our drivers go here. Looking at some of our other battles on track, Reed and Nunez having a bit of a battle here. As well as Turnbull and Tutta right in front of them. And when you look at it too, Nunez is feeling pressure from Burr behind him. Turnbull looking on the inside of Tutta, you can see there in the corner of the screen, but I don't think that's going to work. Nunez maybe overcooks it a little bit. Doesn't have a great line. That's giving Burr a golden opportunity to maybe make a move, but don't think that's going to work. Nunez able to cut it off. Going back to our battle between Friesen and Fender here. Candido with a drive-through. Probably for some off tracks, I would imagine. But he's getting awfully close to Flores, but he's going to have to serve that penalty sometime here soon. See if Friesen can make the move here. Got to be patient with Fender. Fender will defend ruthlessly for this position. He's not going to give it up easy. Already gave it up easy once before. Friesen getting a much better line through that tight right-hander. Friesen maybe trying to back off, get a better run into the final straight here. A lot of competition between our drivers today. I wonder if it's mostly because of the inexperience with this track. I think a lot of drivers don't care for this track just because it is so tricky to manage. Nobody's been able to make any moves so far, but that's Friesen on the inside going into the S's. Awfully wide from Fender there. And Friesen does make the move after Fender's mistake, so that moves Friesen back into P9. And Fender having a bit of an issue there as well. Has to concede a position to you. So that gives Friesen just the amount of breathing room he was hoping for, because now Fender's got to go through you. You never know what's going to happen with these races. That's a fortunate turn of events from Friesen tonight. Going back to our races near the front here. For that final podium position, a lot of drivers battling pretty close. Turnbull has had to miss a few of the races, so I think he's trying to gain back as many points as he can. Get back into that top 10. Oh, as Tutta goes over the curbing there. The sausage curbs here notorious. Turnbull opting to take a wide line, hoping to catch Tutta off, getting a better line, and he's able to hold it tighter, but it's still a really tough place to make the move. Does make Tutta think, though, on how he's going to operate through that sector, though. We have got 8 minutes, 30 seconds left into the first race today. This is race 1 of our Circuit of the America weekend. If you're liking what you're seeing, be sure to follow us on social media, though. We'd love to have more people join in the racing. Nunez on the inside of Burr there. A little bit of battle between those two. Able to hold him off. Fender dropping back even further. I wonder if he had some damage from something there. I think he might have hit the wall or something. Now Fender's in the pits. Unfortunate from him tonight. That's going to give Friesen just the boost in points that he needs. And that does allow Friesen to really pull away. He's almost 6 seconds up from you now. I bet he's oh, and Candido has a stop-go 30 now. Must have been speeding through the pits. Can't be doing that. I do wonder too if our drivers are following their points as well. I wonder if Fender would be out on track trying to gain position back, or just try to stay on track the best he can, knowing that Friesen is spot on with him when it comes to points. I know if it was me, I'd still try to get as many points to do some damage limitation. Looking at some of our other drivers, a driver who I want to shout out this race for having a nice clean race. Definitely going to have a good performance from him as he goes a little bit wide there, but Pinio, Glenn Pinio, seems to be having a fairly decent race. I don't want to jinx him now. I don't want to jinx him, but I know he's had some troubles the last few races from getting into different skirmishes with other cars, but I gotta say, I think this race is going well for him so far. I think he's gonna be happy with a P13 finish if that's what he can pull together. He's still got to hold off those drivers behind. I know Cromie could definitely battle with him as Todd looks to make the move on Santello there. But big shout out to Glenn, doing a great job tonight with a P13, keeping it clean. Seems to be having a good night. As you check back in with our leaders here, now 18 seconds up. Portis on the edge when it comes to trying to stay ahead of Zhang here. These two drivers are pretty close when it comes to skill, or at least speed, I should say. But I know Portis has been racing for years now, so he's got those years under his belt when it comes to racecraft and knowledge. Bet that's what allowed him to really make that move stick. And that's what's allowed him to stay in front of Zhang this whole time. For most of the race now, he's been leading. Let's go back. Oh, Reed onto those curbs that hurt that Formula, that W Series driver, Abby Eaton was her name, at Circuit of the Americas last year. Caused her to break her vertebrae, those sausage curbs, or those curbs. Nunez into the back of Turnbull there, and Turnbull makes the move on Tutta. Is that into the back of Tutta maybe? As Nunez pulls ahead to P5 on Burr and Reed after Reed makes that mistake. Now Turnbull's just running with it after making that move. Into the S's. Drivers behind him are still fighting it out though. Nunez, we only got 3 minutes 40 seconds left, but that's about 2 laps for these drivers to still make a move. And Burr trying to look on the outside there, do maybe a little switcheroo. Not going to work. Inside line is going to be what makes the difference here, and Nunez is able to get it. And battling is costing them time on Tutta in front, though, after Tutta loses that position to Turnbull. Reed trying to catch up as well. JJ Burr hoping to stick with in that BMW. Looking back, Pinio gaining on Flores. Friesen not able to gain any time on Rise, though. Probably just trying to keep it clean and lock down that position. Looks like Fender and Candido are just opting to end the race a little bit early. Todd Cromier able to pass Santello as well. And just look at how far Turnbull's already made it up ahead of Tutta there, almost a second and a half in the span of one lap. I think that really goes to show how hard Tutta was fighting to keep that position. This is really where the battle is right now between these drivers. On the inside, that's Tutta. Bird trying to make the move on Tutta after Nunez was able to make it on the last turn, and he makes it work. I think there might be some damage on Tutta's car from that contact with Nunez. Definitely doesn't seem to have the pace he had at the start of the race. As Nunez goes to P4, Burr now P5. Reed hoping to get that as back as well from Tutta. Pinio is now caught up to Flores, it looks like, as well. So we've got battles galore here in the last laps here at COTA tonight. Want to give props to Scapinello out there in that Porsche as well. Props for him for sticking with it, even though he's a lap down. He's holding with it. He's doing the best he can. Looks like these drivers might get one more lap in. Maybe one more lap. We'll see. Yep, there will be one more lap of the race here. As Portis and Zhang turn onto that start-finish straight and now proceed up the hill. This will be the final lap here for our first race at Circuit of the Americas. Portis, having started P2, has been able to make that move on Zhang. Now Zhang's gotta get it here if he's going to get those points for winning. Otherwise, that'll just give Portis the opportunity to pull away in the championships even further than he already has. Zhang, great line there. Keeping it clean, but Portis is just blocking off the optimal lines the best he can. Trying to be a nuisance. Coming into the back straight here on the final lap. Zhang wants to make the impact here. Can he stick with... Doesn't look like Zhang's able to hold. Flashing his lights to the driver ahead, Scapinello, hoping that he'll get out of the way because this is a championship battle in front of him. As Scapinello just decides to go a bit wide there and let them pass. Probably a prudent measure. As Zhang gets awfully close to Portis in this tight sector. This is the final sector for these two drivers of race one. Portis still has the upper hand on Zhang, and there's not many opportunities left. Zhang really needs to close that gap here if he's going to get the win, and I don't think he's going to be able to do it if he's not close enough on this final turn, and he is not. That is going to mean Portis is going to come away with the first win of the night. After starting P2, gets an excellent race in there under his belt, taking the lead from Zhang. and solidifying that lead in the championships. Looking behind, we have Turnbull, having made quite a few moves to get into P3. Our final podium position will go for him. That is a job well done from Turnbull, with Nunez coming in behind. I think there's a little bit of change, though. Burr and Tutta move ahead of Nunez after Nunez makes a mistake on that final lap. Reed able to get in there in P7. Rise, P8. Great performance from him. Justin Friesen having a fairly lonely race. Weaving very happy with that after starting P15, I want to say. Getting a 9th place finish. He's going to be happy with that. Definitely has the race pace tonight. You and Scott battling it out for the last top 10 position. Not going to make it work. Great battles between those two. You P10, Scott P11, Flores 12, Pinio P13. Great race from him. Todd Cromier able to get a P14 position. A little bit disappointing after the great qualifying performance, but as you can see, there's quite a bit of damage on the front of that Porsche. I wonder if he ran into the back of someone there accidentally and caused a little bit of an issue in the race. Final cars to cross are going to be Santello, who has, but we have Scapinello, Candido, Fender, and Wolf, who have opted to just stop the race right there and cut their losses. Excellent race. First race of the night. We've got one more 30-minute race, exactly the same as what you just saw. I won't say exactly because we do have a whole new qualifying session for our second race tonight. So it's all up for grabs for our drivers tonight in the second race. And if you're just tuning in, thanks for joining. And if you're interested in following Zealous, be sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And if you're interested in joining the community of sim racers that we have here at Zealous, be sure to join our Discord. Link is on the homepage of our YouTube channel, where we'll have the most up-to-date news on our new leagues or our new seasons, I should say. And excuse me. We'll have the most up-to-date information on our new seasons of the league. Season 9 will be coming out shortly after our season here. We have like a 1-week break, I want to say, is going to be the case between season 8 and 9. And cancel drive. First driver out on the track is Scott for our second section. Oh, we actually have a little bit of practice here first. Apologies there. But now that I have the time, like I said, if you're interested in joining, whether you're new to sim racing or are a veteran sim racer, be sure to give us a like and a follow. We've got sim racers of all skill levels here. We've got people who have never raced in a league before. We've got veterans like Portis and Nunez, Flores, Burr, Wolf. All of those guys have been racing for quite a long time now with Zealous and in other leagues as well. So if you're interested in joining or just learning more about what sim racing is, be sure to join us. We have a great community of folks that are able to share their well of knowledge with the whole crew of Zealous, and we're able to help each other out. I know I've gotten a lot of help from guys regarding streaming, regarding commentating, because this is my first season commentating with Zealous. So a huge thank you to the guys for letting me have this opportunity to announce for the first time. I secretly have always wanted to announce for something. Just for some reason, I've always had that dream of being an announcer, and this really gives me that first shot to try it out. So I'm really grateful for that opportunity and really enjoying the time I've had so far. But I started out as a racer like all these other guys. So if you're interested in getting involved in a sim racing community, um, be sure to like and follow us and join us. Rise joining in. It's a good thing you didn't run out of fuel this time too. Not that you really had much chance to, but good thing we didn't have to relive last week's race at Kailami, where I want to say it was Rise at least, if I'm not mistaken. Rise had to ran out of fuel on the last few turns and was able to just cross the finish line before stopping. But we only have about a minute and a half left in this little free practice session we have here. A few of the drivers are opting to get a few laps in and keep themselves fresh. Candido, one of those drivers. Zhang, one of those drivers. Just trying to stretch their legs a little bit and make sure they're in peak shape for the race ahead. But with that though, since we are about halfway through our races tonight, I'm going to take a quick break before we go into qualifying session 2. I'm going to set it on viewers in the chat. Who would you guys like to watch race? And I don't think Rise you can vote for yourself. But you're also right in the middle of my screen, so I'm almost thinking I just want to click you or read. Should I do like an eeny, meeny, miny, mo? Any other drivers that we'd like to see, though? You know what? I'm going to make an executive decision here, and we're going to follow Tada during his qualifying session. Because he had a pretty good race last week, and he's been doing really well. He's P3 in our standings. Probably doesn't get a lot of love when it comes to our races. You know, he got a lot of love that last race when it came to screen time because he was fighting with people. But most of the time, he's kind of been on his own in P3 and in those like final few podium positions. So we'll give Tada the opportunity to show us what he's got here. Give him that opportunity. Give him that opportunity to prove what he's got on track. Do have to apologize there. I was just pulling up the stream to see how many folks we had watching. Because not gonna lie, the Streamlabs OBS tool does not do a very good job of letting you know how many people are watching. YouTube is much better at that. So anyway, though, I'm gonna take a quick break as we watch Tada's qualifying session as he comes in behind Portis there. This sunny day at COTA. All right, folks, I will be back in just a bit. Enjoy this wonderful qualifying session. So we've got 3 people tuning in right now. Y'all need to get 2 more people. 2 more people to watch. Let's get this to the most watched stream we can. I'm back though. I'm back. I had to go get some I had to go take a bio break, and also I was told by my lovely wife that I need to give her a shout out for making cookies this last week, which she tried to get me to take a cookie so that I could shout out like I did a few weeks ago or last week about how she made cookies or something like that. But I didn't want a cookie tonight because I had already eaten some cookie dough tonight. But I have to give her a shout out anyway, so I will. So shout out to my wife for making cookies. But no joke, they were actually like super good. Anyway, watching qualifying now. Focusing on the task at hand. Can't get off track here. KP has set the fastest lap of qualifying too, with Tada just moving ahead in his qualifying session as well, setting a P4. Looking at our drivers here. Watching our drivers here. KP with a 206.2, and Zhang, his fastest is a 206.4. Other drivers here, Friesen and Fender, still neck and neck when it comes to setting times. But I don't think those are very representative of their race pace. Definitely a lot faster. Same with Turnbull. Some of those drivers are really good when it comes to racing, and some of them are really good when it comes to qualifying. And I think as the season's gone on, we've really got to see which drivers those are. You know, even though Portis is getting better, better qualifying laps than Zhang, I would say Zhang might be the better qualifier than Portis. Portis is an excellent racer, though. With Turnbull, doesn't seem like he's able to qualify super well, but definitely a fast racer. Friesen, another guy I know. Well, he just sets a very fast lap there. 2 seconds behind. Good lap from him, Friesen, in the 208s. But as I was saying, Friesen there with, I think he's definitely a better racer than he is qualifier. We've got Fender there, definitely a better racer than he is qualifier. You know, a lot of these guys, I think, are fairly good when it comes to racing. Qualifying is where it's difficult, though. It's turned around for a few drivers. I know we've had some of our drivers have some issues in the past, but number 6 car of Fender having a little bit of a fender bender. I had to do that again. I'm sorry. But he is currently in the pits, not going to be able to set another lap as we only have 40 seconds left in the session. So looking at some of our drivers in the back there, got Reed. He's going to be able to set a lap. Probably the Christopher Flores. He might be the last driver that is able to set a fast lap. Maybe the 28 of Friesen. Maybe Friesen can set one more after this one, but it's going to be awfully close. See how he does here. And I think he just crossed the line. He might be able to do one more lap. And he's not going to, though. That puts him into P7 and in the 207s when it comes to fast laps here qualifying. That's a great lap from him. Fender isn't able to set a faster lap than what he's got, so going to have to make that up on track to be able to keep up with Friesen. If I remember correctly, some of the battles that we have going on there, though, Reed is another driver that we want to watch out for between these drivers. Reed is only 10 points back from Friesen and Fender, or was only 10 points back as of the last race. So Reed, having just had a pretty good race, performed better than Friesen, probably equalizes things for this race. I'm gonna guess that that's the case. Friesen's only a 10th back, less than a 10th back on Friesen for qualifying. And we know Reed's a fast driver when it comes to racing. And speaking of fast laps, Zhang with a 2:05.6 puts him into P1. Provisional pole ahead of Portis. Reed with an absolutely rapid lap there puts him into P5. That is going to be whoop, a bit of an issue here. Oh, I know. I'm going to have to wait until it is green to go here to start the race. So our pole, or I should say our starting order for race 2 tonight is going to be Zhang, P1, Portis, P2, Nunez setting a quite rapid lap there, P3, Burr in P4, Reed P5, Turnbull P6, Tutta P7, Friesen in P8, Scott in P9, Rise in P10, Cramier in P11, Candido in P12, Flores in P13, Yu P14, Fender in 15, Scapinello in 16, Wolf 17, Santello 18, and Pinio in 19. That's our starting order for this second race tonight at Circuit of the Americas. No rain still for today's race, which I gotta say is a little disappointing. I was really hoping to see some rain in our races this year, and we have yet to see rain. I love how rain can switch up how things work, and it's kind of sad that we don't get to see that come into effect here this season. There we go. All set there. Our drivers have 20 seconds left to get their last setup changes in. And they have to push start on that car. Make sure that everything's working properly. Make sure they push drive. Anyone going to be... Got a few drivers in the pits. Actually, it's just Wolf. Might be having some network issues. Looks like Scapinello is just opting to stay... no, he's still good. All right. Had a little bit of question as to what was going on there. And as we come along the start-finish straight here for the second time starting a race tonight, 30 more minutes of racing ahead at COTA. And as they come up to the start-finish straight here, we are going to be green, and we are. We are green. Fender tries to go on the inside there. Zhang looking to cover up the inside. Portis on the outside. Nunez getting a little bit pinched by Burr and other drivers there. Reed is spun around. Zhang does get the jump again on Portis there. Nunez and Burr holding their lines as well. Reed does get spun around as though, and that moves all the other drivers up. Reed into last place. Fender as well looking to get caught up in that, I think. Zhang tries to pull away here. Looking at the helicam. Maybe some of the other views we have here. Trying to see as many of the drivers as we can. Turnbull trying to stick with those drivers up here. Doesn't have a read to go through anymore. Friesen was able to make a move on Tuta. Tuta now P7. Friesen into P6. Rise P8, able to make a move. So go into that final turn there. A little bit of curb action from Zhang going into this tricky technical section of the track, that third sector. So our drivers are queuing in behind everyone there. We can see Friesen and Turnbull doing a little bit of battling back there. Portis trying to stick with. Portis is second back. He's going to have to make that move again. Could have been that Zhang made a mistake last race as well. It's unknown. Looking at some of the other battles, Rai able to make a move on Tuta. Tuta not doing so hot here, battling. Looks to have some damage on the back of that Audi. Candido is looking awfully close as well. Rise feeling, or I should say Tuta feeling that pressure. Not doing well with that. Cormier. Oh, a little bit of tussling between Candido and Tuta there. Candido able to make that position up. Going back to our leaders, Zhang and Portis. This is going to be the battle to watch. As they come into the S's here. Like I mentioned when we were in the qualifying, this is not a track that's easy to just pick up and race at. There's so many interesting lines that you have to get right to be able to gain the right amount of speed and get the really incredibly fast times on this track. The technical sectors are on an edge, on a knife's edge. You have to be spot on. As they come down the back straight, Portis not close enough to make a move here. Oh, got a car that is spun out. The 57 car of Pinio. Has spun out a bit there. Fender and Cormier. Actually, looks like Fender may have gotten caught up in that as well. Portis on the inside of Zhang, looking to make the move. Awfully close here. So we get an excellent view of the track there and the observation tower. Zhang really going wide. Really going wide when it comes to that pretty fast right-hander. Rise getting close. Portis fastest lap. Rise getting close to Friesen. Friesen is now second back. Portis looking on the inside. Thinks better of it. Doesn't have the space. Probably could have made that move stick though. Zhang a little bit hesitant on the brakes. As they come down that hill, Nunez trying to peek in there and make himself known. So we get that wide angle shot of all of our drivers there. Already 5 minutes into the race. And there hasn't been any move on our leaders here. Portis didn't seem to get a great line through that last sector, but this is where his car is going to shine. He can make up a lot of time in those braking zones. Maybe Portis made a bit of mistake on the S's there. Portis is now 8/10 back, it looks like, from Zhang. Definitely not as close as he was last lap. Friesen and Rise having quite the battle here. And it looks like Rise maybe made the move, and he did on Friesen. Looking back. Looking back at these two drivers. Rise making an absolute bullet out of that Audi. Oh, has a little bit of an incident there coming out. And that trips up Friesen, makes Candido look for a move. Come on, Slim, you got to pull this together. Think he knows he's faster than that. Not able to pull together some fast laps here. Friesen's best lap is an 8:03. He can do better than that. Looking at Zhang and Portis. Zhang setting a quite a fast lap that last lap, but I think he went off track. Got a warning for it. Portis looking to go in deep so he can get a run into the S's here. And as much as I'd love to watch some other drivers watching this battle, I don't want to miss any action here. But it doesn't look like Portis is close enough to do anything yet, so I'll allow myself to look back here. And Candido has made the move on Friesen. Wonder if there's a little damage on the front of that Ferrari. Looking at it, doesn't appear that there is any. So just needs to pull it together here, Friesen. And looking back, Reed, who's going to be fighting him, is pretty close. Only a second back. Another driver who's had a poor start is Tuda. Now behind you there. Needs to make a move. Pinio coming back into P16 now. Fender P15. Let's come down the straight. Oh, a little bit of contact between friends Pinio and Cormier, sorry. Messing up names here. Not able to make the move. Checking back with our leader, Zhang still able to hold. A lot of close racing between drivers today. Friesen now feeling pressure from Reed. Needs to pick up the pace. Last lap was a 2:10 wide going into that section right there. As he turns the final corner. Reed's looking good coming out of that turn. Might be able to make a run up the hill. And that hill looks absolutely massive when you look from down. And Reed is off the track almost there. Going back, Chris Rise making an excellent come up here. Running P6 currently. Great work from Rise, newcomer. Candido P7 also coming through the ranks quite well. Tuda looking to make a move on you when he gets the opportunity. But we got to watch Zhang and Portis here as they come down the back straight. This could be an opportunity for Portis to make the move. Definitely got a good run there. Let's come down this very, very long back straight. Definitely odd when you consider how long this straight is to the rest of the track. Portis is looking on the inside there. And Zhang is able to hold. Awfully close between those two drivers there. Portis definitely had the inside line and was gaining on speed, but the braking zone just came too early for Portis to make the move. As they come into that final part of Sector 3. Very odd corner. In some cars, in some of the faster, more heavy downforce cars like Formula 1 cars, you can really take that corner flat out. But in these cars, you have to make a lift because they just won't turn in. You'll really feel the understeer in that corner. And your front left tire feels it hard. Your front right really likes to overheat there. Portis looking for a line in there, and he's on the inside, and Zhang gets a little bit loose there, and Portis makes the move into P1. And I wonder if that's almost exactly what happened last race as well. It looks like it could have. Zhang is definitely loose on that car right now. Tires may be hurting a bit after pushing so hard to keep Portis behind. And that promotes Portis to our leader again after being bested in qualifying. Portis is able to overtake Zhang on track to take P1. And let's see if Zhang can respond. Definitely has been able to catch back up a little bit here, but I think Portis got a little better run out of that corner there. Rise seems to have had a bit of a mistake promoting Friesen and everyone behind Friesen and Reed up to P7 and 8 respectively. And you can see Friesen catching back up to Candido there after losing a few positions, and Reed getting awfully close as well. That's going to be a battle between those two for points. They're awfully close. Looking at Reed's past performances, definitely just had a few what I like to call stinkers. Just poor races. Looks like he got a P12 and a P15. One at Spa and one at Watkins Glen, the second race. But every other race, Reed has been performing really well. P5 in 2 races and P4 in our second race at Bathurst. He also missed a race as well, so for missing races, Reed's doing very well to catch himself back up in points. And Friesen looking to overtake Candido. Candido goes close to the wall, and Friesen kicks back out there at the last minute. Candido, not an optimal point to be braking in. Friesen awfully close to Candido there. Is going to be getting a better run here as well. But Reed is getting close to Friesen now. Friesen's going to have to watch out. He's being pressured behind, and he's got to pressure Candido. I think he's a little bit more worried about Reed right now because Candido's been able to get ahead of Friesen. And, ooh, a little bit over the curbing there, but not going wild just yet. Tada able to overtake you for P10. Scapinello with a drive-through. Friesen with a great run there, a great early acceleration coming down this long straight. Ooh, got a car behind him. It looked like, I think that was Rise again. Yep, Rise having a little incident on the slow hairpin there. He's still P9, but Tada is going to be able to get a little closer now. Now, Friesen's got to be able to make a move here. I think Friesen is a little bit faster than Candido, but he's got to be smart to be able to get ahead of Candido, but not give himself up to Reed behind him. This is a tough position for a driver to be in because it's really a double battle for you. You have to defend, you have to attack. You're getting caught up on both sides. Candido wide. Going off track there. Probably getting a warning. But I think Friesen knows he's faster than Candido. Candido's just using some timely off tracks to be able to keep some speed. And not going to be able to make a move here. Reed is going very wide into this turn. It gives him an excellent run through that turn and down the hill. A lot of speed kept by Reed as they go down the hill into the S's. And see how wide of a line Friesen and Reed take. Candido opting to go a little bit narrower into the S's, just kind of cutting the corners. I gotta say, I think that works just well too if you can manage your braking right. But as you can see, Friesen definitely catching up in the braking zones there. And Reed looks to have made maybe a small mistake, which allows, looking on the inside, but he's not going to make that move. Freezing on the gas, hopefully early enough to get a better run down the straight. Good battle between these drivers here. Let's take a look at some of the other battles we may have going on. Rise, not feeling any pressure yet, but Santello and you in the back feeling pressure from Fender. Fender not having qualified very well after a lap he invalidated for going off track. Santello's getting very close, almost a contact between him and you. Into the braking zone, Santello is ahead. Fender is trying to maybe make the move as well on you. You may be trying to cut him off. Santello is able to pinch you in between. It's going to give him a lot of space there in his fight against Fender. How about we check in on our leaders here? Zhang and Portis. Portis having overtaken, I want to say it was on lap 4 or so, is now trying to pull ahead of Zhang here. Having a good first sector there of lap 8. Having passed on track to take the lead. Going back to Candido, Friesen, and Reed. Good battle between these drivers. Closest battle on track right now. I guess Yu is feeling some pressure back in P14. Actually, if I go back, Fender was able to overtake you. So now Fender's going to try to catch up to Santello there. Got to say, this is a good performance for Candido. He's P10 in our standings. Started off the season a bit rough, finishing 29th in our first race, 19th, 23rd, and then 25th. In recent races, though, he's brought it up to be able to finish in the top 10 the last 2 races. So good comeback from Candido in this latter half of the season. Maybe getting used to that Bentley, who knows? So we go down that straight into that heavy braking zone at the end. Reed going a bit wide. Candido cutting that corner. Definitely an off track. Remember, Candido, I believe, had a drive-through penalty for off tracks the last race, so he's got to watch out for that. I think it's compromising Friesen's race a little bit too, because it's having Friesen brake where he doesn't want to, and now Reed is breathing down Friesen's neck. Looking to get that position, not able to make it work though. Nunez, Burr, and Turnbull are having their own, just kind of racing on their own, hot lapping, doing the best they can. Fender awfully close to Santello. Going back here, he was able to catch up in that last lap, Fender. But he's going to try to make a move here, getting a good run. And as they come down the start-finish straight, Fender not able to get the run he wanted to make the move. But Santello a little bit dodgy on the braking there. Fender goes wide, kind of having to adjust there, it looked like. Reed just overtook Friesen. Just as I went back to Santello and Fender, we've got a change in position between Friesen and Reed. Maybe they'll decide to work together. Who knows? I doubt it, though. These two are neck and neck when in the standings. And Portis not able to shake Zhang. We've got less than 10 minutes, but let's go through our list. Watch Nunez. Able to get into the 206s in this race, but on a race of his own there. And behind him, we've got J.J. Burr. These drivers just spreading themselves out. James Turnbull in the Audi. In P5 after finishing on the podium in the last race. Candido P6, Reed P7, Friesen P8. Awfully close between those two. Chris Rise P9. Was able to get as far up into as P6, but he's had a few mishaps. Caused him to drop back a few places. Tada P10. I think this may turn out to be the worst performance for Tada, but even saying that, a P10 as your worst performance is not too bad. That's very admirable. Ricky Scott, just outside of the top 10. You can see him ahead of him, but probably too far away. Fender spun out there with Santello. Flores. And Fender just decides to leave. I don't think he's very happy with Santello there. Actually, Fender just goes into the pits. Oh, nope, he has definitely left. Sorry. Santello just keeping there in P14. Cormier, P15. And Scapinello in 16. Pinio just opting to stay into the pits. Portis has been able to make a little bit of headway. 30 car. Santello off track there. Gives up his position to Cormier. Gonna have to go back and watch what happened there between Fender and Santello. Given the reaction, it looks like maybe Santello hit him as they were battling. Candido able to take advantage of the fighting between Reed and Friesen behind, though, and stay ahead in that Bentley. Nunez down the start finish. That issue between Fender and Santello moves Flores into P13. Yu is running a pretty quiet P12 race. Zhang is now second back from our leader, Portis. And watching the battle here, this is really the on-track battle going on between Reed and Friesen. This is where the action is. Been watching it most of the race. Battling for that P7 position and battling for championship points here. Friesen and Reed. It's always good to see Reed out on the track, our singular Lamborghini driver. I think he's been racing Lamborghinis in every season I've been in Zealous. As they make the hairpin. Not able to get the run they want. But maybe they can make some ground on Candido ahead. Less than 5 minutes left in the race today. Looks like Reed was able to shake Friesen a bit there in the tight section of Sector 3. Lost some time, now making some ground to Candido ahead. Going to our leaders, Portis and Zhang. Portis just trying to strengthen that lead to Zhang ahead. I think this is the first time he's been over a second ahead of Zhang in both races tonight, really. But really surprised with how well that NSX is holding up on this circuit. Definitely think that BOP update has helped. Looking further back, doesn't appear to be any other battles going on track right now. Everyone's kind of seemed to spread themselves out. Candido with a drive-through, though. You know, I mentioned it last race that Candido got a drive-through, and he was doing it again this race, and he just got another for off-track penalties. You would think, you know, after a few warnings, you'd be able to tone it down a little bit, but Candido just continuing to make small mistakes and costing him a drive-through now. That's going to put him maybe even behind Chris Rise in P9 if he goes in for the drive-through penalty right now. And he's got to make that drive-through penalty, I want to say, within the next few laps. Reed onto the curbing there. So that could promote some of our drivers up even more positions. And, you know, saying that too with Candido's drive-through penalty, he's got to yield. He might even have to yield that position to Tuta in P10. It's a little disappointing, though, having witnessed that in the background between Santello and Fender. I know we've had some people be a little bit upset with some of the contact that we've seen in races, but you know, I'm going to go on record here and just say that, you know, it does suck, and it does need to, you know, there is a level of accountability that needs to be done between our drivers, but at the end of the day, if you're battling for position, like the possibility of contact is always there, you know, like you're always risking the chance of contact when you're going by another driver. And if you're not familiar with the other driver's driving style, then, you know, that just maybe even makes it more dangerous. And, you know, at the end of the day, the stewards will decide the penalties. And we know we have live stewards on all of our races. We have race directors. We have, you know, myself to watch these. You know, we have admins that go through the race, the replays after every race, and we dish out penalties as need be. But for the most part, you know, we just try to be as fair as possible. And there's only so much we can do if some of the drivers on track don't want to improve their racecraft. You know, maybe we need to ask them to be more careful. You know, there's maybe something we have to do. But at the end of the day, you're putting yourself at risk when you're going at a battle, and you have to learn how to fight. You have to learn how to fight those battles. You know, getting yourself in positions where contact can happen. And, you know, deciding when to make moves is a skill that all racers have to learn. I know I had to learn it the hard way, and I'm still learning it every single day I race. You know, I know when I started sim racing, I'd get really frustrated if there was contact. But at the end of the day, there's always things that you can do to minimize it. And maybe that's being a little bit more patient if you know the driver in front of you is aggressive. And, you know, if both of you guys are being aggressive, then that's what you have to expect. If you're both going into it fighting, you know, it's possible that one or both of you might not come out on the upper hand from that fight. That's just how it goes sometimes. That's how it goes in real racing, and that's how it goes in sim racing as well. So It's just what happens sometimes. But to be honest, from what I've seen from other racing leagues, Zealous does a good job at keeping it under control, I'd say. I'd say the quality of drivers that we have is fairly good. Friesen getting a little bit squirrely there. I'd say the quality of drivers we have is fairly good. We usually don't have a lot of big incidences. We've had a few in the past, but I think that's inevitable. So, and you just try to learn from those mistakes the best we can. So, we're always trying to learn what's best to do, and we're always trying to cater to our community the best we can. So, I'll get off my soapbox there about that penalties and contact, though, and we'll just enjoy the last laps of this race as Portis crosses the finish line in P1. Zhang seems to have backed off a little bit there in P2, 3 seconds back. Nunez now crossing the finish line, P3. JJ Burr in P4. Turnbull is going to pass in P5. Candido not opting to take his drive-through is going to have to take a penalty at the end of the race. I want to say that's a 5-second penalty or something like that. 30-second penalty. I'm not sure that was worth a Candido, but that is just my opinion. That will promote Reed, Friesen, Rise, and Tuda, I think, into... it'll promote them all up one place, so Candido will actually be 10th place, I want to say. Reed is going to finish P7, Friesen P8, good performance from him. Chris Rise, excellent performance, P9. Tuda in P10. Ricky Scott, P11. Kevin Yu, P11, or P12. Christopher Flores, P13. Todd Cramier in P14 with a drive-through penalty. Santello, our last driver to cross the finish line, is going to be P15. So that's our second race. Thank you all for sticking in with us, all those who are viewing. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for enjoying the races tonight and joining me. That is our race 2 for tonight. Portis P1, Zhang P2, and Nunez P3. That is our podium for race 2. After race 1, our podium was Portis, Zhang, and Turnbull. A lot of battling in the midfield today. Very interesting race when it comes to those midfield positions. Reed having had 2 really great races ahead of Friesen, I think that will jump Reed up a few positions in the standings. Jeremy Story, another driver currently P4 in the standings, only 12 points ahead of Friesen and Fender. He probably will lose out a bit this week, having missed a week, which will move him, I think, probably behind Friesen and Fender. Fender not having a great races today, probably going to move him back a little bit. Friesen going to probably stay about where he is, but I could see Reed moving up here. I could see maybe even Rise moving up here, although he is a lot further back from these guys than Reed is. So we're very close in the standings here. We're coming into our last round next week, which is we got one race at Misano, which is our makeup race this season. So, from a midfield standpoint, P4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 even in the standings. This could all change next week. We'll have to analyze it before the race and see how that's going to turn out. But so far, we're looking for an excellent end to the season at Misano. But we'll have to see what happens when we get there. Well, a huge congratulations to our winner tonight, Portis. Excellent performance from him again. It's been an absolute pleasure to stream this race, this ZRL race tonight. My name is Shim. I have been your host tonight. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be here, to be sharing racing with you, and to be sharing this joy, this love of auto racing with all you out there tonight. Like I have mentioned in the past, if you're interested in joining our community, be sure to join our Discord. We have a link on the homepage of our YouTube channel that has a link to our Discord. That's where you'll get all of the up-to-date information regarding upcoming seasons. Be sure to look out for Season 9 information that will be coming out shortly. We're currently in the works of planning Season 9 right now. It's going to be starting up about a week or two. I want to say it's 2 weeks after Season 8 ends next week. So it's going to be a pretty quick turnaround between seasons here. So if you're interested in joining, be sure to hop on in and join the Discord, join the community, and ask any questions you might have. Otherwise, just like and follow us on our social media, which is also on the homepage of our YouTube channel. Well, guys, like I said, that's been our 2 races tonight at Circuit of the Americas. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure to cast this race, and I hope to see you all next week as we wind down Season 8, our final race of the season at Misano. It's going to be a great one. Same time, same place, next week at Misano to close out Season 8. Thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful week. Peace out, everyone.